Hey guys, Ryan here, Ride Tech Marine. Just wanted to do a little rundown of our boat. Had a lot of guys on the Lund owners group page, which I'm on quite a bit, and other pages, and a new kind of rigging page that I'll be starting up here on Facebook here shortly. Just wanted to do a little video of how I have our boat set up. A couple different things than most, and things that guys, when you're getting ready to rig up your boat, maybe you see something you like on this, or you get one idea from me and a bunch of others from someone else. But just thought I'd do a little rundown of things that I've done with this that actually quite a bit different than a lot of guys. So just give a little rundown. So it's a 2017 Lund Crossover, 1875, so almost 19 foot. It's got an I-beam aluminum trailer. Absolutely love it. Actually, about the trailer, the I-beam is the only thing that's really aluminum on it. The rest of it is all well done galvanized steel, all the rails, everything. No welds anywhere. Tongue, everything's galvanized. All the water runs out quickly. It's got bunks like I've never seen before. They're big vertical ones, basically a 4x8. There's no flex or anything like that. It's a great trailer. Really long tongue. The trailer, I think, is meant for a 22 footer, so it's pretty long. But nice thing about a nice long tongue is it makes for easy backing up. Especially I can have my wife jump in the truck and back things up, and with a long tongue, it doesn't get nearly out of shape as quick as a short tongue does. So that's one nice thing I like about the long tongue on it. So we've got lots of room here and all that too. So anyway, just do a quick walk around here. Got the tarp just hanging halfway off here. Lund tarp's nice, just goes right into the sport tracks like a lot of guys know. It just fits right in. Thing like that pops in. Works well there. Droto latch, awesome for fishing by yourself. Quick and easy. It just is a lifesaver some days, real windy days, trying to get in by myself or whatnot. It works really well coming into launch. Trolling motor, I run Nexi 5. I've got that kind of down right now for the next little video I'm going to do in a bit. I've installed a Felmarine man overboard system on this thing, so that's the reason that got the motor guide just kind of sitting down right now. I've tied it into both the main motor, the kicker, and the motor guide. For me being a trolling guy, it's my main fear whenever I go out, especially by myself or just with my two young kids, is if I fall over and the boat's on route to run a couple mile route, basically autopiling. I'm going to be swimming in the lake, and the boat's going to be going away. And in the cold water, even in the summertime on Lake Ontario, water's pretty frigid. So that was the main reason I'm doing the Felmarine man overboard system. I'll explain that a little bit in this video, and then definitely more in just one of the next ones. So that's basically it from the outside. I run Evinrude's. Got in a tank right now to show the Fel system. So I got the 150 G2 and 150 HO, and then my absolute favorite motor is that 15 HO Evinrude kicker. Puts an amazing amount of amperage, charges my trolling motors all day long, and I'm only down like 5%, 5-10% at the absolute most on a hard day of trolling. Just works amazing. Quiet, uses next to no fuel, hardly any oil. I think it was down quarter of a liter in 100 hours or something like that. So it uses next to no oil. It's just simply amazing. Got my because it's in the tank, I took my actual transducers off, or just pivoted them down. The 3-in-1 definitely had to come off. The new TM165 is just angled down. And on that side, I got the fishhawk just kind of hanging in, and the TM150 on that side is just angled down also. So I will quick jump into the boat and show you a couple things here. Just how I have it rigged up. All right, so first thing, I sold the last of these this week for the Lund pilot seats, the armrest elite plugs. Just got the get rid of the actual armrests on these pilot seats, and just makes tons of room for getting in the way of the kicker control and all that stuff. The arm used to hit it, and if you were in trolling and coming around, the armrest would actually hit the actual throttle, and we got right there, I guess would be how it would be. I almost threw my son right on the boat one day with it, so that was my main reason for losing the armrest. So took them off, gained lots of space in the middle, still comfy chairs as anything. They lean back and everything, they're great. So we'll start in the back. So there's the Evinrude 15HO, big motor of course. Got a tie bar going in between them. It's an actual Evinrude tie bar. It's nice, can pop on and off. Keep it on all the time except for when we go tubing. Because when I go tubing, I have to have the little motor just kind of angle out of the way so it's not in the way of the rope. I put a washdown system on here, so I don't have it on or anything right now, but there's a switch, of course. Hose works great. The pump. Now I'll give you a rundown of everything I did on here. The pump, hard to see, but it's just mounted right there. Just coming off the back side. I made a bracket coming off the back side of the main motor bolts, and works really well there. Bit of wiring to go through and fishing everything, but it's nice for you know, you can day of catching salmon and stuff on Lake Ontario here, and you know, the boat's slimy, you can wash everything down, or even cooling down the vinyl floor on a hot day. It's great. You just spray it down, cools it down, water goes right out the back, and away you go. So track wise, I got 7.5 feet of track mounted on this thing. Works really well. It's all I've actually got the bottom side, I'll show you here. When I installed that, I actually put might be hard to see in the video there, but there's basically a 3/4 inch Baltic birch running up the whole entire thing, and then bolted and siliconed in. It doesn't move anywhere. You get the big rod trees, and it still moves the gunnel a bit, but it doesn't do hardly anything with the riggers and whatnot. I still like my rigger brackets that I made and was selling a couple last year there. They're definitely a lot stronger than running the track, but for me, already having the track in place, there was nothing I could do, so I can't run them. But it works out well. I have my Scotty riggers at about 30 inches, boom halfway out, and works well. So the track's nice. I can slide in things from the gap. So right there, I want to put the rod holder in. These are my Dipsy rod holders. Just put them in, slide them down. So I got 5 feet of track here, and then an 18-inch piece at the front. I always put my tree there, and then you can see the antenna also there. Works well. My antenna comes from the VHF down underneath, and then I got a quick disconnect so I can actually take the cable off, and everything works really well there. It also, the antenna folds down, and then when everything's off the track, it just fits right into that little groove right there that I made, and works really good there. Got my HDS 7 Live Lowrance on the back there. That's really nice for a day out on the water trolling. You don't have to keep looking forward at the graphs or whatnot. My Sport Track mounts for my Scotties, I actually make these, of course, myself. They are, you can see the actual male groove there that fits into the actual track, so you can actually have them on an angle like I have here. They're right in the on the radius of the track, but they are as solid as can be because they're actually right tight in. They're giving a lot of rigidity there. So without that there, just relying on the bolts, you could never do it. So I like doing those. Sold quite a few of them. Haven't done many in the last year or so, but who knows, down the road might get into doing a bit more. Wiring for the that Lowrance on this side, I just have coming out of right there at the access port on the side. Other side, one of my tool holders. On the console, oh, trees. Those are a 4 rod holder. I usually only use 3, so I have 4 per side, though. They can come on and off. These are Great Lakes planer rod holders or trees. They're nice because they can pivot. You can put these wherever you want, angle them however you want. Absolutely love them. Great product. Could have made them myself, but for the cost of them and what they are, couldn't go wrong buying them. And great guys to deal with over there, out of New York, I believe. Council, got quite a bit of stuff going on here. The 2 HDS Lives 9-inchers. They're mounted on Canadian-made graduate mounts. Hard to see here in the video. Maybe I'm going outside the window. Hard to see there, but they're great. They're the only mount I know that has 5 axes, so you get lots of adjustability. I actually hang my there are Rytech gimbal brackets there. Oh, there you can see the mount a bit more. You can see it. It can pivot almost any way you want it. It's great. A lot of guys like the balls out mount. This is every bit as good, plus better. Strength, the extra axis. It's great. So I run the fishhook bracket off, so it's actually mounted right on there. And then this one here, I don't have the XM radio, the satellite in right now, but it just sits into there. So they're both basically an auxiliary bracket hanging off. Lowrance Link 8 VHF, stock Rockford Fosgate radio. Here I've got a tack. That's actually for the kicker. It's got 131 hours on it. It's great. So it shows me the actual RPM of the kicker motor. And basically it's just a wire that runs back to one of the spark plugs. You program it for whether it's the 2-stroke, 4-stroke, or whatnot. You wrap the wire around the actual spark plug and basically fire it up and away it goes. And it's great. It's awesome for knowing when you're out trolling. You want to keep it at a certain speed and RPM. You can do that. Also lets me know how much amps I'm sending up to the actual trolling motors when I'm trolling, because I also have a motor guide alternator charger. So it basically moves power from the charging batteries up to the actual trolling batteries when I'm running. That's basically what these here switches are doing. So when my power's on, motor's running, I'll turn on the auxiliary battery charger, and that sends all the power back up front. This one here, turn that off. This here, so this one here is actually a switch that powers all my graphs and everything, my downriggers. It basically sets a relay, turns on a relay that's back in my charging compartment. I'll show you that right next. So when I turn that on, it basically turns on the relay and sends power from the battery up the 4-gauge cable all the way to to everything, like all my the Lowrances and whatnot. I'll just turn that on right now. So it shoots it all up there. That works really nice. This here is the new fell fob I put in. See there? Really cool setup there. I'll show you that in a bit. But basically, you have armbands. You can do armbands like that. Those are for my kids. This is just a neck fob you can wear around you, or just a belt clip, whatever there. You fall in the water, it basically shuts the motor off instantly. And for me, I've actually got it tied up to the main motor, the kicker, and the trolling motor now. So I'll show that in the other video. So basically, I'll go back, show you the hatch for where my batteries are. I run one large Crown deep cycle battery for my starting battery, and everything else. Just get those out here. So that's the starting battery, charging battery. It deep cycle, that powers all my riggers and all that stuff. I'm mainly a trolling guy, so it's not like I'm sitting with the boat just sitting and the graphs on without the motors running. Motor's basically always running whenever I'm running. So basically amps from the little motor, charging this up, and keeps everything topped up. I've never had one issue running it, and puts out 130 amps and cranking amps that are way higher than most starting batteries, so it works out well. There's my main charger, the MK345, and then right there is the alternator charger. So the alternator charger takes power from the main battery starting battery. Once it's up to voltage, it's charged up, then it instantly starts sending power up to the trolling motor batteries. So here's the little fuse panel. So basically, it's a 4-gauge wire, runs right off. It's about 18 inches long, right here. This one here runs off. It goes to the, I got the breaker, 100 amp breaker on it, and then to the relay. So this here is what the relay right here is powered by that switch on the dash. So as soon as you switch that, there's basically just 2 small wires from 12 volt that go from the switch to here, and then it switches the relay, so it allows full voltage going through that 4-gauge cable to the actual panel. So it fires up the panel. So on this one, I've got all my graphs, all 3 graphs, downriggers, fishhawk, all my electronics go through this. So nothing's going through the actual factory fuse panel there. So that works really well. Also got these guys, they work really well. Nice for making it clean and all that stuff. Worked really well. Just turn the graphs off now. Let that fire back down for a second there. Turn this off. Turn the main power off. Now everything's dead. So trolling motor wise, I run a 24 volt 80 pound Motor Guide XI5, but I'm a little bit different with this one. I actually run a 4 battery setup. So there's 2 in here. These crossovers have gigantic compartments in the front. I could actually probably lay down in these things and have a nap, especially if the batteries weren't in there. They'd be huge. So 2 batteries on that side, and on this side 2 batteries on that side. So basically it's a series parallel connection. So it runs 24 volts yet with 4 batteries. So I'm actually doubling the amount of the amperage. So instead of 130 amp storage, it actually has 260. So that's allowing me like twice as much of running time, and then plus I'm charging these things up as I'm going. So very rarely do I ever see that the reservoir, whatever you want to call it, the battery reservoir is down below 10%. I also have the batteries on a switch here, so when it's powered up, I actually have to have the power going, of course, to be able to do this. Oops. I gotta turn the power on here. Everything's got to be main switch being on in order to do all this stuff. So I actually got this guy here, and I'm not sure what's going on here right now, but I must have the breaker switched off in there at the moment. Oh, I've got it tied onto this valve thing now, so that's what the issue is. I'll just go and hit the valve fob and fire it up, and then it'll show me. So basically, there we go. Now it's working. It's all tied onto the kill for the trolling motor. So basically, it's all on there. I turn this on, and now that actually shows 100%. So it's basically 10% increments. So at the end of the day, I've only ever seen it down 1 bar. Works really well. I've got a bunch of stuff going on in here. Hard to see, but there's a relay and all that stuff for the Fell Marine system too. Battery tender disconnect, absolute best trolling motor switch I've ever seen there. It not switch, the actual plug, just goes in and out, super heavy duty. I think it can take 100 amps or something. It's crazy. Nice thing about it, you can do this totally in the dark, and it just works while you turn it in until it cranks in, and away you go. This little rope here I just put over the front to go to the Drodo, and the alumina pieces you see here is for when I run planer boards. So just put a little bit of track in the front, and that does that. I slide that piece in, and then and then I put the tube down through the center for my planer boards. And then also when I bring my graph up to the front, I've got my power and all that stuff for the graph at the back, another set of wires, and the network cable and all that stuff for the HDS. Basically pull this in, slide my graph into that mount, and away you go. So very, very versatile. So that's basically it. So turn the fell thing back off here. So that's basically it. This little rundown of, I'm probably missing a couple things here, I know that for a fact, but actually one cool thing that I'll show you for a lot of guys for their bumpers, instead of tying them, these things are pretty cool. A lot of guys don't know about these. So it's just a little piece that fits, looks like a little ring, I guess, and made these little pieces, the aluminum pieces for the track, and this you can get at any marina or marine supply place, and quick and easy to put your bumpers on. You just slide them in there. They can't go anywhere, they can't fall off, it's in a groove. Works really well. I really like that. Works really well. The back, the puck for the graphs, that's the GPS sensor, I guess. A lot of guys will run it at the front. Actually, when I got the boat, it was mounted up in the front, and I was always having interference from the trolling motor batteries and the trolling motor. Technically, it should be at the back anyway, closest to the transducer, so you get a good solid GPS hit when you put in waypoints and whatnot. So mine had some screws actually up in the gunnels in the front, so I landed up putting these cup holders in mine last year. There, right there is where the puck was, so I put one on that side too. That's pretty well it. So at the end of the day, love the boat, works well, and always tinkering around doing a few things, and got a lot of extras on this that probably wouldn't need, but it's fun to have, and I like playing around with things and being kind of techy and whatnot. So lots of relays, things like that. Relays are always good, that you know, you don't have the full voltage going all the time. You know, it's a small circuit, runs off smaller fuse to charge the relay, and the power gets through. So relays are something cool when you're rigging a boat, that you can incorporate them, so you can switch a panel, or this fell thing, I've got 3 relays on that one, just to be able to turn the motors on and off. So it's pretty cool that way. So anyway, that's it. So again, thanks for watching the video, and if you have any questions about it, just message me through the YouTube page here, or jump on Facebook, or give me a call, or however you want. Thanks a lot, guys.